Hey everyone, Ross McCorkle here with another episode of the Depot 180. There isn't a whole lot of news to talk about, so I wanted to discuss a couple recent studies I put together on the site. For one, I looked into how the Steelers running backs might be involved in the passing game for the 2024 season. Jaylen Warren said after one of the OTA practices last month that the running backs are more involved than they previously were under Matt Canada, now that they are under Arthur Smith's offensive system. I took a look at the Steelers' production over the last 2 years, Russell Wilson's completions to running backs over the last 2 years, and then the Falcons and Titans for 2 years while Arthur Smith was the head coach and offensive coordinator respectively. The findings were pretty interesting. Smith has actually used his running backs less in the passing game than the Steelers have over the last 2 seasons under Matt Canada. Not by a lot, but nothing to suggest a large uptick in that area. Where the uptick might come from, however, is Russell Wilson. In his last 2 years with the Denver Broncos, he targeted his running backs a ton in the passing game. Also, with Warren saying that Smith is going to use them more in that way, I obviously believe him. Maybe Smith likes Warren and Najee Harris receiving skills more than he likes some of his previous running backs in that area. Either way, I would expect about a 20% bump in the running backs catching passes. Russell Wilson likes to get out of structure a lot, and that is when running backs can work their way open for a check down pass. Jaylen Warren saw most of the targets last season, so he could be the biggest winner in that equation. I also took a look at the need for a wide receiver 2 and tried to answer the question of whether that need is being overblown. The average wide receiver 2 around the league has 668 receiving yards, 52 receptions, 82 targets, and 4 touchdowns in the 2023 season. I'm not sure if the Steelers have somebody like that on their roster, but there were plenty of top offenses in the league that had a receiver getting either a little or a substantial amount less than that. The way that many of those top offenses made up for the lack of a wide receiver 2 was the utilization of tight ends. We have heard about Arthur Smith's offenses being pretty tight end friendly, and reports have indicated that Pat Freiermuth is off to a hot start this offseason, looking better than ever in the spring. There were 14 teams in the league last season that had a tight end either as their leading receiver or their second leading receiver. Pat Freiermuth could very well be the wide receiver 2 that we have all been waiting for. It is perfectly viable if he is able to get about 800 to 850 receiving yards, 75 or so receptions, and 7 touchdowns. Based on his previous stats, that is attainable. And then the platoon of depth receivers can fill niche roles that don't necessarily have to amount to that average wide receiver 2 that I outlined above. Let me know how you enjoyed the video on Twitter at Ross_McCorkle, and as always, visit SteelersDepot.com for your latest and greatest Steelers breaking news and analysis.